Court 3. Thursday night. London. Down a set. Alex Eala is down a set. Across the net stands the woman who beat Serena Williams 2 days earlier. The same woman who beat Eala in a final that made her cry for months. She had blown 4 championship points that day. 4. And still lost. Now it is 3-6. First set gone. Same opponent. Same stage. Bigger. Hundreds of Filipino flags are already out in the stands. And they have not seen anything yet. Somewhere in Manila, it is the middle of the night and people are still awake watching. Because this is not just a second-round match at Wimbledon. This is unfinished business from a final she has never fully let go of. The question is not whether Eala can win the match. It is whether she can win it against this exact person, in this exact way, without breaking the way she broke last year. Where she actually stands world number 32. Seeded 29th at Wimbledon. The first time any Filipino, man or woman, has ever been seeded at this tournament. She arrived at the All England Club on a genuine run, a WTA 125 title in Birmingham, a round of 16 at the championships, a semi-final in Berlin against players ranked well above her. But majors had been a different story. Every previous Grand Slam appearance on her record had ended by the second round. Every single one. 0 third rounds across every major she had ever entered until this week. The human detail, after her first-round win over Renata Zarazua 2 days earlier, Eala said the crowd on Court 12 made Wimbledon feel like a home match, hundreds of Filipinos who had fought for tickets just to stand behind her. So the joint match was not only about revenge. It was about whether Eala could turn a pattern, good in rounds 1 and 2, then an exit, into something else entirely. What nobody noticed watching the score alone, Maja Jovic had just done the biggest thing of her own career, taking down a 23-time Grand Slam champion in 3 sets. She arrived fresh, confident, and dangerous. On paper, this looked like a rematch, a grudge match, a storyline built for headlines. But the version of Eala that showed up in the third set was not chasing revenge anymore. She had already stopped playing Eastbourne. She was playing something new. And the defending champion, previewing the draw after her own second-round win, admitted out loud that she did not know Eala's game on grass at all going in. A rare thing for a 6-time major champion to say about a number 32 seed 2 rounds deep into a tournament. That is not a compliment handed out for free. Swiatek has beaten Eala once, lost to her once, and studies opponents obsessively. Not knowing what to expect from someone ranked just outside the top 25 says more about Eala's rise than any ranking number does. Here is the stat that backs it up. Eala won the final 18 games of her match against Jovic across 2 full sets without her opponent getting on the board more than 3 times combined. Jovic had led the first set with a 13-4 edge in winners. By the third set, Eala had shut that down completely, a 6-0 set, the kind of scoreline that does not happen by accident against someone who had just eliminated Serena Williams. Journalists courtside described the atmosphere as electric. Court 3 rocking with a wall of Filipino flags loud enough to be heard rallies away. The same crowd noise that greeted her on Court 12 2 days earlier, except now it had a different job to do. One outside voice saying she does not know what Eala brings. One scoreline proving exactly what she brings. That is not a coincidence. That is a scouting report already going out of date. The honest part, because this is not a highlight reel. This is the thing actually standing between Eala and the second week of a Grand Slam. She lost the first set. Again. That is not a one-off. Eala has now dropped the opening set in high-pressure matches against Jovic twice in 12 months, Eastbourne last year, Wimbledon this year, against a player with real pace on serve. Her first sets keep slipping before she finds her rhythm. Part of it is physical. Eala has said it herself without dressing it up, she is still in the process of getting stronger against an era of players built to overpower her from the baseline. Jovic's 13-4 winner count in that first set was not an accident. It was a bigger, harder-hitting player imposing pace before Eala adjusted. The pattern is specific. Slower starts against aggressive ball strikers. Then a mid-match reset where her return game and rally tolerance take over. It worked against Jovic. It has not always worked against Swiatek, who beat her in straight sets the one time this slow start problem met a 6-time major champion at full strength. Against most players outside the top 20, Eala can afford to lose the first set and still find a way back. Against the very best in the world, that habit runs out of room. That is the real ceiling right now. Not talent. Not nerve. But the first 20 minutes of matches against players who can hit through her before she has found her footing. And that is exactly what makes the third-round match so important. Why this matters beyond the scoreline: the Philippines is the 12th most populous country on Earth. For decades, its biggest global sporting names have been a boxer and a gymnast, Manny Pacquiao, Carlos Yulo. Not a single woman in tennis had ever carried that flag onto a stage like Wimbledon center court. Eala just became the first Filipino player, man or woman, to reach the third round of a Grand Slam in the Open era. Not the first Filipina. The first Filipino, period. For a tennis fan who has never heard her name before, here is the comparison that should land. This is the equivalent of a country with no tennis infrastructure to speak of producing a player who beats a Grand Slam finalist and stares down a defending champion within the same fortnight. It is the kind of jump most federations plan for decades and rarely get. Countries without tennis pipelines do not usually produce players who make six-time major champions do homework. The last time a nation this far outside the traditional tennis map broke through this fast, the sport spent years catching up to the story instead of writing it in advance. Eala's own words on court, in the moment right after beating Jovic, were about her country before they were about herself. About sharing the run with a nation that rarely gets to watch one of its own on this stage. Whatever happens in the third round, that part of the story is already written. The only question left is how many more chapters get added this fortnight. The answer to the question at the top court 3. Thursday night. London. Alex Eala was down a set. Same opponent. Same kind of heartbreak on the line. Except this time, the ending changed. 18 straight games. A 6-0 final set. And a defending champion admitting she does not fully know what she is about to face. The question from the top of this script had an answer. Yes. She could win it this exact way, against this exact person, without breaking. And now Swiatek, the defending champion, is waiting on the other side of the net on Saturday. The pattern is documented. The slow start against aggressive ball strikers is real. If it shows up early instead of late in the first set, the question becomes whether she can reset fast enough against a player who, unlike Jovic, does not offer second chances once she has momentum. But if the last 18 games of Thursday night proved anything, it is that this version of Alex Eala is not the same player who lost 4 championship points in Eastbourne and cried about it for months. She has absorbed that loss. She has used it. And she arrived at Wimbledon ready to write something new. This is where we track every step of the Filipino tennis movement, before it becomes the story everyone else is telling.